Hello, this is Goldie Jr. on November 1st, and this is your fastest Tucker Carlson daily update. Today, Tucker started off the show by saying how Biden has campaigned less than any other candidate in modern history. He went on to say how there's really not many Biden supporters. It's more about just beating Trump at all costs, no matter who it is. It's basically orange man bad, so go vote against him. He went on to say how Kamala Harris would actually be the president if Biden was elected, and that would be her extreme leftist radical ideology that'd be forced upon the American people. And this is a woman that quit her own Democrat primary because even her own voters didn't want her. He then went on to talk about the Trump support all over the country. There's been huge rallies everywhere, not just the ones that Trump is at, but all over the country, especially a lot of the swing states and battle states. Thousands of trucks and people just waving American flags and showing their support, which is a great thing. He was talking to Craig Patrick, Dan Gordano, and Kevin Cork, who were in Florida, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And they're reporting on all of the voting going on there. And they said that Trump had a great possibility of winning those states. He then spoke to Brett Bauer, the Fox News chief political analyst. And he basically said that the lead that the Democrats had in early voting wasn't as big as they had hoped for, and that the polls are showing that Trump voters will come out about an 80% clip on election day, as opposed to 35% of Biden voters that'll be voting on election day. And Trump in all the polls is starting to cut into that lead of Biden. And he says that there's already been 90 million people that voted in the country, and that's astounding. He showed clips of all of the rioting and looting that went on in these Democrat cities over the summer. And he showed at present day how these same cities are boarding up everything and getting ready for what could happen if Trump is elected and these extreme leftists, BLM, and Antifa type folks don't get their way, and how it's going to go on from there. There were some clips today in New York City. Drew Hernandez from the Tatum Report did a bunch of filming, and this is kind of a crazy situation. Probably the craziest part of the whole show. BLM and Antifa merged together to go against a Trump demonstration that was going on in New York. The problem is they showed up in the wrong location. So once they figured this out, that the Trump demonstration was going on, miles away, they started fighting with each other on how to go about this situation, what to do. There was a big police presence, so half of them were like, let's just leave. We don't want to get arrested. And the other half were staying strong about getting their point across. This eventually led to a big fight with the police that the protesters lost, and many of them ended up getting arrested. The most disgusting part of this situation, they show in a clip what appears to be a younger white woman talking to the cops while actually screaming at them, saying, "I hope that your kids get raped and killed." And then Drew Hernandez brought that up again and said, that the American people need to know that a member of Antifa today was calling for the children of law enforcement to get raped and killed. Bill Emmer came on and started explaining all of the complicated mail-in voting laws that change from state to state. And what it comes down to is if there is a very close election, because of the laws of Pennsylvania, Nevada, Minnesota, North Carolina, and Ohio, none of these votes would be counted until the end of day on November 13th. So we are probably not going to have a winner on November 3rd, no matter what happens, which would be different than most other years, most other elections. Samar from the Hill spoke about how the parties have kind of switched classes over the last 10 years. And Democrats have always been touting themselves as the working man class and kind of demonizing the Republican class as being those rich guys. But what's happening in this election is that Biden has received almost all of his money from zip codes where the median family income is over 100,000 people, or excuse me, $100,000. And Trump has received his donations from families of zip codes where their income is less than 100,000. So it's kind of like Trump is the working man representation, and Biden has become the representation of the wealthy, which makes this like the election where race has the least to do with it than ever before. This is much more about the class warfare that most people that don't believe in these big racial divides on all sides of things, you know, I've been saying it is, that it's not about race, and it's more about class warfare. A part that I really like is Kirstie Alley, the actress, was on. She had tweeted out to CNN something to the effect of, you know, why do you guys only talk about COVID and fear, and how we're all going to die of COVID without even bringing up the Hunter Biden laptop or the Joe Biden taking money from China from Hunter. They don't bring this up at all. CNN actually blasted her back on Twitter and said something to the effect of, you know, you can always just change the channel if you don't like this. Just like people change the channel on your show. Whatever, I don't remember the name of her show, but I guess it was a top 10 show, so, you know, they're being real snotty. And it's kind of weird coming from what's supposed to be a news network. But they are right, you can always just change the channel. And I wish they would believe that themselves instead of trying to censor and demonize every voice that opposes what they say. That's kind of a lot of what's going on. Tucker then went on to show a couple of clips of like punch-drunk Biden, you know, just talking incoherently, making up new words no one's ever heard of, and that sort of thing. Mark Stein came in and kind of went along with that, and that was pretty funny for a minute. And then to close off the show, Josh Hawley came in and was just talking about how big tech is trying to run the whole country, you know, and how there's all this stuff going in Congress against them right now. This antitrust case that's going on, which is really very, very important. And if Biden is elected, it would most likely be swept under the rug because big tech is exactly the fuel to the fire of the whole Biden campaign, trying to take over everything. So this is a very crucial election, which is basically what the theme of Tucker's show is and usually is. And that's it. I'm just trying to give you what the show is about in 10 minutes in case you didn't have time to watch it all. Have a great day. I wish you all much love, health, wealth, and happiness. Where we go one, we go all.